Welcome to my channel, where every song lyric, every movie scene, and every book page reveals its secrets. Let us take you with us to Solaris, planet of mystery, embodiment of man's latent conflict with the unknown. Man, face to face with his conscience and with his past. Solaris by Andrei Tarkovsky is a visually hypnotic film that deeply explores profound moral themes such as conscience, love, and reconciliation. The film begins with serene shots of a lake, where seaweed sways gently with the current. The camera then pans to reveal the pensive psychologist, Dr. Chris Kelvin, preparing for a walk near his estranged father's countryside home. Kelvin has authored an influential report for the Solaristics Council, responding to strange data sent by the remaining 3 cosmonauts aboard the orbiting space station, Dr. Snot, Dr. Sartorius, and Dr. Jibarian. Kelvin has been selected to visit the crew, assess their mental state, and draft a recommended course of action for the agency. The day before his departure, he is visited by Burton, a former cosmonaut, personal friend, and colleague of his father. Years earlier, Burton participated in a search and rescue mission for a missing cosmonaut, during which he witnessed the strange metamorphosis of Solaris's ocean firsthand. Despite Burton's passionate plea to continue exploring the unknown, Kelvin remains unmoved. He believes that human emotions shouldn't interfere with scientific endeavors and plans not only to abandon the Solaris mission, but also to irradiate the turbulent ocean to eliminate its inexplicable activity. Upon arriving at the space station, Kelvin is met with an atmosphere of apathy and tragic news. Jibarian has committed suicide. A recorded video message reveals Jibarian in a disheveled and frail state, driven to despair by tormenting visions of lost loved ones and an overwhelming sense of isolation. After an uneasy sleep, Kelvin begins to understand what Burton tried to warn him about. He, too, starts experiencing hallucinations, seeing his deceased wife, Hari, who mysteriously appears aboard the station. Similar to Tarkovsky's other films, Solaris presents an unsettling portrayal of humanity's unjust and often destructive interactions with the environment. The mission principles of Solaris are inherently biased by a theoretical filter that only accepts phenomena which can be logically explained or physically proven. Some scientists have hypothesized that the Solaris Ocean is a sentient substance, a primordial brain capable of materializing thought. However, lacking concrete evidence, Burton's opinions are met with skepticism, and calls for the mission's immediate termination follow. The mission's researcher, Dr. Messinger, ultimately succeeds in convincing the board not to shut down the project, exposing their inherent fears that drive them to erect artificial barriers to obscure the truth. He argues that the strangeness of the phenomenon itself is a reason for further exploration, not an excuse for retreat. The theme of self-imposed boundaries suggests that there are no real obstacles in the search for truth. Only fear of the unknown makes us cling to the sanctity of oblivion. The appearance of Hari aboard the station instills an instinctive fear in Kelvin, preventing him from confronting the complex issues surrounding her suicide. Much like the Council, Kelvin initially chooses to abandon the mission and destroy what he cannot comprehend. However, upon arriving at the space station and stumbling through Solaris's mysteries, Kelvin realizes this is a journey he is compelled to embrace. In essence, by irradiating Solaris's ocean with X-rays, the crew inadvertently transcended the artificial boundaries of their exploration, creating a point of no return. Through irradiation, the cosmonauts essentially probed the depths of Solaris's primordial mind, which responded by reflecting their own subconscious back to them. The idea of exploring boundaries as a natural evolution in the search for truth proves to be a convenient distraction from personal regret and isolation. After Burton's abrupt departure, we see Kelvin burning documents and photographs in his father's backyard, attempting to sever ties with his past. However, aboard the vast, isolated space station, he cannot escape the guilt of abandoning his wife and allowing her to take her own life. When Hari first appears, she is frightened and helpless. Kelvin reacts with denial and cruelty, unable to reconcile his emotional ambivalence about her return. When Hari reappears the next evening, she is both clingy and captivating. But is this the same Hari who took her own life, or a new iteration? More importantly, if she isn't the real Hari, is she an accurate reflection of herself, or, more likely, a projection of Kelvin's own perceptions of her? At one point, when Kelvin briefly separates himself from Hari, she crashes into a metal door, severely injuring herself. Kelvin returns to care for her, only to find her deep wounds already healed. He introduces her to the crew, who already know she is a physical manifestation of Kelvin's subconscious, brought to life by Solaris. Experiments confirm that these guests are biologically human but are composed of neutrinos, stabilized by a localized force field. As such, Dr. Sartorius suggests dissecting her. Despite the irrefutable evidence, Kelvin disagrees with Sartorius's conclusions. Believing he's been given a second chance to reconcile with his wife, he refuses to accept that she isn't who she appears to be. However, it soon becomes clear that Hari is not his wife. She has no personal memories and is defined entirely by Kelvin's recollections, lacking any individual identity. But if Hari is a subjective interpretation based on fragments of Kelvin's subconscious rather than the real Hari, the question arises, is she an idealized version of his wife or a manifestation of his fears? Is his attachment to the guest Hari a reflection of his guilt over her death, or does it stem from a longing for intimacy that never existed during their troubled marriage? The crew's behavior toward their guests reveals their professional characteristics. Physiologist Gabarian committed suicide, unable to reconcile the appearance of his beloved with his profound grief over her actual physical death. Cybernetics expert Snot appears incoherent and mad, engaging with the guests in unorthodox ways in an effort to achieve his ideal extraterrestrial contact. He sees the guests as a communicative challenge rather than an alien curiosity. Astrobiologist Sartorius is the least affected among the crew members. Confronting the guests, he remains logical and dispassionate, perceiving them not as sentient beings to interact with, but as empirical, molecular puzzles. Their presence on the station provides an endless supply of subjects for his research. Intrigued by their regenerative abilities, Sartorius views them as potential gateways to immortality. Sartorius, who treats Hari with contempt and disregard, defines her existence as a collection of unstable neutrinos held together by a force field. However, if the essence of humanity lies beyond physical composition or origin, it must reside in the attributes that distinguish humans from other living beings. One such attribute is the human soul. If the soul indeed defines humanity, then its internal makeup becomes irrelevant. Reason and emotion are integral properties of the human soul, transcending cultural and ideological boundaries created by society. With her rational thinking, compassion, and conscience, Hari is, in many ways, more human than Sartorius. Her capacity for selfless sacrifice and unconditional love are manifestations of a genuine soul and therefore define her humanity. Though she was not initially human, she became one. Solaris is a story of exploration beyond the confines of human vessels, a journey to expand humanity's territorial boundaries, only to confront the vast frontier of its own subconscious. In a society eager to explore the furthest reaches of the universe in search of truth, the Solaris Ocean acts as a catalyst for probing the deepest regions of the human soul. Inevitably, truth proves as elusive as the delicately veiled reality of Solaris. Can humanity ever truly come to terms with its irrevocable past, or is it inexorably bound by guilt and regret? The creators of Solaris sought to depict a completely new moral stage that humanity ascends to in the film's conclusion. What remains within the soul is hope, and there is nothing in the world more vital than this feeling. Yet the filmmakers intended to convey more than just that. They did not forget about the dream of returning to one's home, to one's own planet. It is essential to look from the depths of space back to the very beginning, and in doing so, overcome a new boundary within the soul, one of moral and spiritual growth. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more exciting discoveries.